The NRA released an ad against President Obama and Hillary Clinton, and I think the Democrats in general. And long story short, they lied. The entire ad is one giant lie.
Nobody's talking about taking guns away from anybody. Yeah. So what's he talking about?
We are creating a plot to take everybody's guns away so that we can impose martial law.
But there's certainly a lot of people.
Conspiracy? Yes, that is a conspiracy. Friends of ours, allies of ours. Great Britain, Australia.
Oh, it would work, but certainly the Australian example is worth looking at. But certainly the Australian example is worth looking at.
The NRA, is probably the single most dishonest hack group out there when it comes to politics. Because I have no doubt that the people who are the leadership of the NRA, they know that what they're saying is not true. They know that the implication in that ad is incorrect, but they ran with it anyway because they're not interested in the facts. They have an agenda, and they put the agenda before the facts. So the claim is, President Obama and Hillary Clinton, they say they're not in favor of gun confiscation, but remember that one time that they praised Australia and they praised Great Britain? And then look, here are some newspaper clippings that talk about gun confiscation in those places. Got him. If you look at everything they said, what's the word I'm looking for? In context, you find out very quickly that they only bring up Australia and Great Britain, and even I bring up Japan, for example, to make a point. The point is, your main argument of more guns equals more peace is factually untrue. That's the only point they're making. They're not saying, by me bringing this up, I am endorsing every single policy that has ever been done in Australia, Japan, Great Britain, and elsewhere. No, they're saying, you've argued, the NRA and right-wing activists have argued, more guns equals more peace. But then when you look at the data, you find out very quickly the U.S. has over 300 million guns in circulation, and shock, we have more gun deaths than every other modern nation. And the other modern nations have fewer guns and fewer gun deaths. Wacky, isn't it? Where there are more guns, there are more gun homicides. That's actually the finding of a Harvard meta-analysis. But I know, it must be biased. Liberal bias. Harvard, science, research, facts, bias, liberal bias. Anything that doesn't have the answer that I want is liberally biased by definition. And then, you idiots, every single proposed piece of gun legislation from the Democrats can be read. It is available to read. So here, let's make this very simple. Cut out all the counter-arguments, all the bullshit and everything here. Their claim is Obama, Hillary Clinton, Democrats are in favor of confiscating all guns. Okay, show me the bill where they propose that. Go ahead. Kyle, it ain't a bill, it's an executive action. Okay, show me the executive action, the executive order, whatever. Show me where they tried to confiscate all guns. Show me where they push for that. Just show me where they push for that. You can't do it. You want to know why? Because it's not true. Because it's totally made up. 100% made up. The strictest, toughest gun laws that were proposed were after Sandy Hook. And what were those proposals? Banning assault weapons, not retroactively, but from here on out, banning high-capacity magazines, and doing universal background checks. That's it. That's as tough as it got. Now, you might disagree with that, and that's fine. But disagree with that. Argue that on the merits. You're not doing that. You're strawmanning your opponent by saying you're in favor of confiscating all guns. But they're not in favor of it. I just told you the strongest things they were in favor of: banning assault weapons, banning high-capacity magazines, and doing universal background checks. So there's not an honest debate or conversation going on here. The side that the NRA is on, they're just lying, and they're lying repeatedly. And as a result of this and their corruption, buying off Republican politicians, we've made it so that we don't get any sane gun reform. Any sane gun reform. Meanwhile, the American people are in favor of moderate changes to our gun laws. Of course they are. Any sane group of people would be. Did you know even a majority of NRA members are in favor of universal background checks? Now, the problem isn't even the group, the NRA, and the people in the NRA. The problem is the leadership of the NRA who run ads like this, and they lie nonstop. And those are the people who take money from gun manufacturers and then buy the Republican politicians. They give them campaign donations, and they let them know as they're doing it, hey man, no new gun laws, because this came from the gun manufacturers. Any new laws, cuts into their profits, don't do it. Don't do it at all. But a majority of NRA members, Republicans and Democrats, say we got to at least do universal background checks. But you dig deeper and people are in favor of other restrictions too, like a ban on high-capacity magazines. These are all moderate, sane changes. Now, are they going to cut the number of gun deaths in the U.S. from 32,000 a year, which is what it is right now, when you include everything, homicides, suicides, accidents? Is that going to cut it to less than 100 gun deaths? No. Other modern nations have less than 100. We're not going to catch up to that if we just do these vanilla reforms. But is there a chance that by doing these reforms, you cut, 8,000, 10,000 dead people off that list? Yeah. Add a gun buyback program. So not force, not mandatory, not confiscation, but add a gun buyback program where you make people an offer they can't refuse, cut back the number of guns in circulation in the U.S. Are you likely to cut the number of gun deaths in half in the U.S. if you do these reforms? Yes. Yes. So I get it. Is there some level and some argument to be had for liberty, man? Yeah, I've said before I'm a moderate on the issue of guns. If you're a law-abiding citizen, no funny business in your background, no multiple felonies, no paranoid schizophrenia, no terrorist history, whatever, do I think you should be able to have a gun? Yeah, I do. But that doesn't then therefore mean that all guns should be legal all the time for everybody. No gun background checks, no ban on high-capacity magazines, no sane regulation. But effectively, that's what the NRA is arguing for. Because when they run ads like this, where they're going against moderate gun reforms by just declaring they want confiscation, what they're doing is kneecapping any attempt to do any reform, even if it's reform that the overwhelming majority of the American people are in favor of. So these guys, flat out, are just fucking liars, and they know it.